are on a journey of disruption and innovation. We're on this journey together. You inspire us to innovate, keeping pace with your business. You asked for simple, virtual disaster recovery. In 2011, we reinvented disaster recovery by moving replication into the hypervisor. You said, service levels we never thought possible. Works like you said it would. It's magic. Then came cloud, and you asked for multi-tenant disaster recovery as a service. In 2013, we were the first to bring it to market, and you loved it. You said an evolutionary leap enabled us to provide confidence to customers as they transition to cloud. Then you asked for public cloud. In 2015, we took you there and back. Now it's time for the next step in our journey together, our biggest ever. You asked to keep it simple. We delivered it in one experience, the Zerto IT Resilience Platform. So what's next? You asked us to solve for backup. We listened. We're reinventing the way backup is done, continuous, scalable, and simple. Zerto 7. Our journey to IT resilience continues.
Well, thank you for joining us here this afternoon. Thanks for sticking with it. I know it's been some long days with some great stuff going on, but the journey continues, and the journey beyond what has been there and what you've been used to before, but bringing it to you in a Zerto way. As was announced yesterday by Zeev, we're going to take you through Zerto 7. But before we get there, we want to kind of take you on this journey with us and how we got there. And really, it starts with the pillars that Zerto really looks at developing their software against, making it the best protection on earth, built for the enterprise, simple, really simple. These are the principles that guide us as we develop the software and as we bring you new features or functionality. This journey has been pushed by you, the folks in the audience, both in the enterprise and in the service providers. And we'll take you through some of the things that we've been doing. I think as you saw previously, starting out all the way back in 2011 with hypervisor-based replication, really disrupting the market by bringing together orchestration and automation and continuous data protection in one package. Going from there to the first DR as a service platform to enable you to make your first steps into cloud with our service provider partners. Then going beyond the hypervisor, going to public cloud as well, taking you there. And then last year and the year before, bringing you back so that you can go home again. All of these pieces to help you in those steps. And really a big piece of this was that any-to-any platform, the IT resilience platform that helps you deliver these services in a new and efficient way. Finally, completing that story was in February when we rolled out 6.0, which was the IT resilience platform embodied, being that any-to-any piece. So what now? As kind of Zeev took you through, what we've seen is that there is a convergence going on in the market. And you are asking us, and have been asking us, how do we bring this together? We trust you with our data. You already replicate our data somewhere else, be it to a public cloud, a service provider, or just site to site. How do you bring these three things together? You've given us the mobility. You've given us the disaster recovery. You're helping us solve for backup use cases today. We think as Zerto, we are positioned with our IT resilience platform to bring it to you in a new and innovative way, leveraging our continuous journal-based protection. So what does that platform look like? We're building our continuous journal-based protection and the future of backup based on what we have today, which is that continuous data protection engine that we brought out so many years ago that really innovated and still continues to be the best of breed in the market, bringing you the journal-based recovery, long-term retention, application consistency groups, as well as continuous data replication. But this is the engine. And much like your car, it's great to have an engine, but it's really hard to go someplace if you don't have a steering wheel. So looking at tightly integrating orchestration and automation to that engine, so that if you want to go to multi-cloud, you want to do hybrid cloud, you want to have workload mobility, you want non-disruptive testing, that all has to be heavily integrated, not just piece parts and slapped together with chewing gum and baling wire on top of 5 different solutions. When you start to look out into the market, you also want to then understand, where do you need to go? Hey, Zerto, help me understand where I should have my data, how long I should have it there, and what I can do next and what I can protect next. That's like having a nav system in your car. So you have the engine, you have the steering wheel. Over a year ago, we brought out Zerto Analytics. And Zerto Analytics and Control helps you to guide your company to understand, what can I be doing better with this platform? A lot of this is built on a number of use cases, some of which you probably didn't even know we were able to solve for, like continuous availability. I think you've seen, we've talked about it, and there's been a number of different sessions here about ransomware, for instance. You don't really want to recover 4 hours back for something that happened 4 seconds ago. You really want to be on top of those things. And it's not an if you're going to get hit with ransomware, it's a when, as Zeev was talking about, and then John was talking about again this morning in his keynote. You also have workload mobility. And for those use cases, we have a number of customers here in the audience that have seen their companies grow and go up the ranks of the Fortune 100 based on mergers and acquisitions. What's the biggest thing about a merger and acquisition? You then have to consolidate and bring together all of those disparate pieces. Maybe it's using different hypervisors. Maybe it is different cloud service providers. How do you rationalize all those? And as you heard from Jamie during John's session this morning, you start to see all of these large network, especially with compliance and regulatory across multiple different countries. You're going to have a platform that can take you there and take you to another place. Because the only thing that's constant is change. With that, there's also multi-cloud agility. Another piece that Zeev talked about was an NFL team. When they were trying to understand, how do they become more resilient? How do they leverage the IT resilience platform they had in place? As Zeev said, last year we had a lot of hurricanes, some really massive ones. That team was able to move to a geographically diverse data center via their value-added reseller helping them. As we also heard with the Atlanta Braves, the NFL is in a similar state where they run very thin IT organizations. And they leverage their partner and the capabilities of the Zerto platform to take them to that other cloud, to give them the confidence that they could actually execute on the game the following Sunday. So the journey continues. And it continued in our first quarter, back in February. We actually shipped 6.0 of Zerto. And what we were doing with that is really bringing you hybrid multi-cloud capabilities. Any-to-any capabilities. If you want to use Azure, AWS, IBM, or one of the 350 cloud service providers in our portfolio, you have one simple IT resilience platform that can power that for you. We also simplified that through our licensing as well and made it very simple for you to take your software with you with our Enterprise Cloud Edition license. So a number of these improvements have helped you go there, go back, not have any lock-in. And I think that's always been key to us, because we haven't just done hypervisors for a very long time. If you look back, we've been doing more than hypervisors since 2015, which is why, really, the power of the platform is going beyond that. What we have for you now is, before we get to Zerto 7, we actually will be shipping 6.5. 6.5 will ship in the third quarter of this year, and we'll continue to build out the robustness of our IT resilience platform, bringing you the foundation for Zerto 7. What does that mean? I think we have a lot in here for everybody in this room. We have a number of different things that we'll be bringing forward. We're expanding our cloud control portal for our cloud service providers. This is a SaaS-delivered service that helps our cloud service providers be able to do upgrades and understand the licensing and billing that we work with them on. Why is that important? From a Zerto perspective, it helps to make our service providers be able to be more operationally efficient and provide you the best service on earth with the best product on earth for data protection. Also, over the course of this year, we're working with our cloud service providers to bring you Zerto Analytics as a customer of theirs. This could be delivered through their portal or through our portal over the course of the rest of the year. We're in the process of working through that with them so that they can bring you the same experience no matter where you get your Zerto from. It's to give you that consistent, simple experience. And we haven't forgotten about our partner, Microsoft. Many of our Azure customers have really come to us and told us, you know what, I love that you're able to go to Azure, but I really want you to be able to go to premium disk because I have a SQL workload that I really want to have up there. And recovering into block blob, page blob is very nice, but really what I want to do is be on that run fast disk like I am on-prem. So again, going there with managed and premium storage will help us achieve a lot of what our customers are looking to do. As we kind of shift a little bit, something that will hopefully delight a lot of the people in the audience is that what is core to our continuous data protection is the idea of the application consistency grouping, which we call a virtual protection group. To date, you would fail over that entire virtual protection group. With 6.5, you'll be able to fail over an individual VM out of that virtual protection group. You'll be able to have single VM recovery at your fingertips. So say you build out a virtual protection group for an entire application. Maybe that stack has web servers, app servers, file server, and a database. Maybe it's only the database that you wish to recover on the other side. This will give you that ability. And also across AWS and Azure, we will be bringing things to enhance the scalability of those solutions and the speed for recovery and failover times. We're not done, even though I don't have anything up here on AWS, we're not done with AWS, with Azure, or with our cloud service providers. We continue to enhance the performance across all our platform. We have some unique capabilities that we'll be able to leverage based on the hyperscalers' scalability and the way that they scale out and modern architectures in their organizations and their clouds that we'll be able to take advantage of. So all of these pieces are laying the foundation for where we're going. So a lot of what you're not seeing up here are the underpinnings for Zerto 7 that are being implemented as well as part of that. We're well on our way as we get to Q3 of getting to Zerto 7. So what is Zerto 7? It really is the future of backup. I think that you'll see that what we've been talking about, what you've been telling us, you trust us. You're replicating the data with us. We want to do more with that. We've brought you things like ransomware protection. That's great. We have journal file level recovery, where many of our customers have said that they can recover and have stopped using their legacy backup to recover files or folders because we're so much quicker at being able to do that. Going beyond that and beyond and fulfilling the entire vision of backup is really where we're headed. Because there are pieces that we need to bring to bear to finish out this backup story. It's great that we have the file level recovery. It's great that you can make a clone of the VM for a test dev or a DevOps reason in another location. It's great that you can go back and avoid ransomware. But we really want to change the game. The game has been disrupted already, and as you heard from John Morency this morning, 40% of customers in the first half of 2018 that purchased backup this year alone, 40% of them are going to change that backup by 2022. As he said this morning, $7+ billion industry, 40% turnover in the next 3 years. There's something wrong with an industry that has that much churn. And we think it's because people are continuing to use the same technology over and over again to address a problem that has fundamentally changed. So I'm glad this is getting chuckles, because I don't know how they knew my name was Robbie when I was growing up, little Robbie. I was a lot shorter back then. But a lot of what it had to do was, if you think back to when cassettes and then CDs, I didn't go as far back as 8-track. I did have those as well. But when you started to see, okay, hey, I heard a really good song on the radio. And you go there and you quickly push the 2 buttons to record. I remember doing this. I remember making Robbie's mixtape and giving it to my high school girlfriends and stuff like that. And you sit there and but what a pain in the ass that was, right? And then but a lot of love and a lot of care and a lot of time went into this, which is fantastic. But what was it? It was point in time. It was a snapshot of that radio. It was a snapshot of grabbing that music and putting them all together in some sort of format. And you had to be lucky to get them in the right order, right? Maybe, I don't know, maybe I put too much thought into these things, but you wanted them to play out in a certain way. Well, that's like using Snapshot technology today. I'm going to get snapshots. How many snapshots can I fit on that tape? How many snapshots can I fit in my array or my hyperconverged device? Or VMware? What are the recommendations? It's very complex. So it got a little easier. Moved to CDs. You can now burn music. So now I can go up to Napster before you had to pay for anything and all that and the digital rights stuff, you know. Back in the day, I was a bad person back then, you know, using Napster, and you'd pull down the files and you'd burn them off to a CD. Or maybe even you started to get into MP3 players. But again, you had to go find this music, you had to download it. Sometimes it was slow, sometimes it didn't work, sometimes it was crappy quality. and then you would sit there and burn it to be able to hand that over to somebody else. Really a tough way to go about this, and really very similar to that snapshot technology. Again, I'm very happy that we've gotten past that because, now you have, Amazon, Google, Spotify, Pandora. You go up there, you say, you know what, I'm in a Guns N' Roses mood today. Or, hey, I'm in a Vanilla Ice kind of mood today, which I'm not usually, but, hey, everybody has their days and everybody has their moments, so. But think about this. Streaming of music, and when iTunes came out, completely revolutionized and disrupted this market. Streaming disrupted. So when we start to look at this, streaming disrupted music, continuous will and is disrupting backup. Again, going back to what John was saying this morning in his presentation, with digital transformation, the way we've been doing things can't continue. It needs to be continuous. I need much more granularity. Even go back to yesterday when Zeev was talking about a very similar way of looking at this. Backup technology is not meeting our customers' demands or your expectations, and your business, as Zeev said, thinks it's way more automated than it is, way easier than it is. We think it needs to really get easy. We need to think that you have to be satisfied with what you have and like your backup again. Because the way that happens is by not doing backup. It's by disrupting that and changing the way you look at IT resilience and how you leverage a complete platform for doing this. I'll say that most customers, and long, long time ago, a little bit after Vanilla Ice, but before I was in product, I don't know what happened there, but before I was in product, I was in IT and bought backup software. The happiest I ever was about backup software and buying it was the day before I signed the PO. Because every day after that, the expectations of being met or not met really went downhill. We're going to change that. Part of the way we're going to change that is really, it has to be 24/7. Who remembers backup windows being, 5 o'clock tonight to 6 a.m. tomorrow morning? I got that big old backup window. I'm going to stack rank all of these backups. I'm going to roll on through them. One fails, I better wake up or I better get paged out and go and understand what's going on. Not anymore. Most of your companies, if not all of your companies, run 24/7 around the world. That's foregone conclusion. Your backup windows, they're gone too. Maybe, I was with a customer earlier, they have 6 hours a month of maintenance window, total. And of course, it's going to be at the most inconvenient time. So how do you deal with 24/7? How do you deal with granular at scale? You might say, what is granular at scale? I have all of these little virtual machines that have popped up, VM sprawl. How do I deal with them all over the place? Because there's only a small cost to spinning up yet another one. How do I understand that across all my sites? I really liked the picture that John and Jamie used of all the interconnected points in time. Because if you start to look at that and understand how is everything connected back together? And how are all your applications connected together? And can you take one application, take a snapshot, maybe there's impact, maybe there's no impact, ship that? How do you know it's consistent? It's by having those consistency groups and being able to take care of that all at once, at scale. As you know, we've been doing at scale with our continuous data protection since 2011. And we think that ransomware, not just ransomware, but what ransomware means, has also changed the game. You need to be more resilient than ever. You need more granularity, because when you get hit, because you will, if you haven't, which I don't believe, you will need to go quickly backwards. So let's kind of expand on the ransomware use case a little bit. So today, if you're using backups and you're using snapshots, depending on which one of your applications you're using, depending on how you're taking these snapshots, hopefully you can get within 4 hours of that point in time of having that issue. That may or may not be good enough for your business. And it may or may not be good enough to keep your customers coming back to your business and spending money with your corporation. As you heard from McKesson yesterday, if you're out for 4 hours and you're not shipping product to those pharmacies, how are you going to do that? How is that going to help you? How does that pharmacy stay in business? How does McKesson stay in business? All of these pieces are interlinked and way more complicated than they've ever been as we've become more digital. So if you look at it, how our customers are currently dealing with it, utilizing the IT resilience platform, they have many more opportunities to fall back to a checkpoint in that continuous journal-based protection, helping them go seconds or minutes back to be able to understand that. What's also nice about that, you can go back, look at that entire VM, clean it up, all in a bubble network before you have to actually then implement it back in. You can understand and do forensics on that a lot quicker. It helps you to understand that. And maybe you caught one of my team's Zerto Analytics where they talked about how Zerto Analytics can actually, and it's a first step, show you when you have irregularities in the sizes of your journal, for instance, and things are changing or high change rate. These are just the beginnings of where we will take you and how this journey really ties into the future. But it is on the basis that this company was founded, which is continuous is the way to go. Periodic backups aren't going to cut it. You need to have a full life cycle for that application, for the entire application set. Backup technology really hasn't met the customer needs to be able to scale to seconds of recovery point objective. Backup is not meant for that. So, obviously, we think continuous journal-based protection is the future, not just the present. We've built out a platform leveraging this current continuous journal-based protection to take you into the future. Because what we find is you want to restore anything and everything anywhere. I want to restore a file. I want to restore a VM. I want to restore a set of VMs that represent this application. I want to restore an entire site, all through one simple, easy to use platform and workflow. I don't want to have to make trade-offs and buy one from column A. So maybe I buy a backup product from this company, I'm going to buy an orchestration product from this company, and I'm going to buy a replication product from this company. And then I'm going to knit them together. I'm going to try to make them all work together. Oh, and by the way, we're going to acquire that company over there that has a completely different set of technology that operates in a completely different manner. And we're going to bring that all together. How do I get to restoring anything and everything anywhere with all these disparate technologies? You can't. You also can't deliver seconds of RPO at scale. I think Zeev laid it out pretty clearly yesterday when he showed the two different pies, where you had the one pie where, hey, 15% of my applications are considered tier 0, tier 1, mission critical, always got to be up. Then I have my tier 2, business critical, really tight SLA, but they can experience some more downtime. Then I have my tier 3, I really don't care, they can die. That's not how it is anymore. The companies that we deal with and the companies that are sitting in this audience are well down that road of digital transformation. And as part of that, every application has become business critical. It's very few that can say, yeah, these applications don't matter, I don't need to protect them. As Zeev said yesterday, if you don't need to protect it, why is it sitting there running? I think that's a big piece of it. So what we're going to do today is introduce a new concept. That concept is the elastic journal. That is taking you from seconds to years, with minutes, hours, days, quarters, or months in between, helping you understand, where am I protected, for how long, and where do I want to go back to? So to kind of expand on that, bringing together what you've known and loved in our 1-day to 30-day journal, that shorter term retention, extremely granular, and combining that with the long-term capabilities so that you can go and see in the same recovery workflow all of your points in time. But another thing that we really needed to enhance, and I think this is, again, do I want to buy one from column A, one from column B, and one from column C to try to knit something together to do this? Well, we decided that really made much more sense to do it all in the Elastic Journal and to put index and search in an intelligent manner across all of those different repositories. So whether it's on-site in one of our cloud service providers or up in a public cloud, you'll be able to see all of your retention in one easy-to-use data protection workflow. And that's key. So think of it today. You've seen our current UI, all of those different checkpoints, and being able to sit there and filter upon the ones that you want to see back to the point in time you want to see, by a date range, for instance. Really going from 7 seconds back to 7 years with Zerto 7. It's like Vegas, 777s is lucky, right? So again, let's expound on Zerto 7 a little bit more, take you the next level down. You paid good money, you ate some good lunch, you're awake, which is fantastic after lunch. So I talked a bit about the Elastic Journal. I'll kind of take it to the next level in a second here. Intelligent search and index. We know this is key and know this is an area of improvement for us. the way we're going to do it, because we also know that the way that the legacy backup vendors do it today does not work well for you. It becomes complicated. It becomes extremely hard to manage. We're going to do it differently. Also, data protection workflows. We'll kind of delve into that, give you kind of a preview of where we're directionally going with these as well. That enhanced architecture, we know how to make things scale. We know how to make things scale out. We know how to make things simple. And we're going to leverage what we already do and take it to the next level. Then, we don't believe that you make it in this world without good partners and good friends. And we have some friends helping us in the target repositories, and we'll talk about why. We're a software company. We're going to let you make the choice of where you want to put your data. We're not going to force you into some box or another box. We will allow you to have choices in what your target repositories are. So, again, expounding on the Elastic Journal a little bit, across repositories and across sites. We think having that visibility, basically having that catalog for that particular object across those different times, seeing a file or a VM over time or a virtual protection group, again, being able to see that wherever it lives. Because what do you care about where it's living? All you care about is, can I get it back from X point in time? And doing that at scale. We've learned a lot over the last 8 years of being a company. We've seen some of the largest corporations in the world utilize us at scale. And we're really lucky to have partners like our cloud service providers who use us at significant scale. That helps us bring this type of product out to you in a way that will meet your objectives for RPO. Anytime or any point in time checkpoints. We think that the idea of having these different checkpoints, being able to go back to them, being able to see where you've been, is very important. We know, because we spent time and we thought about how do we actually approach this. And we didn't take this lightly. But like I said, the market was already being disrupted, and we think it will be further disrupted by changing the underlying technology. Bringing that Elastic Journal and showing you our beautiful artist representation of what it'll look like directionally. So we're talking about Q1 of 2019, but being able to go in. So say Sally from accounting blew away one of her folders. And in there was her action items. Sally can't get her bonus if she doesn't check off all her action items. But Sally's got a really bad memory and can't remember what her action items were. So Sally calls up and goes, hey, sorry, blew away my action items. It was on this server. It was on my D drive on this server. Can you go and retrieve that for me? Okay, when did you blow them away? What do you need done? Or maybe it is, actually it's ransomware. And that file was the one she opened, and it corrupted everything. Well, being in the same workflow, being in a workflow that works for recovering a VM, recovering a file, or recovering that entire application, and understanding the context of what you're trying to restore is extremely important. We think we can do this better than anybody, coming at it from our heritage in continuous data protection. So do I want to download action items for Sally and send it to her? Do I want to restore the VM and browse the VM? Maybe I want to run some virus protection on it, do some pen testing, or do some remediation to that VM before giving it to her. Maybe I want to, it was a part of a bigger file server or a cluster of file servers or a set of applications where this was stored, a content management system. Maybe I want to restore that entire virtual protection group. Or maybe I just want to go and browse the VM because Sally really has a bad memory and she's not sure if it was Q1 or Q2, and I want to go in there and look. That is the key to making it simple and to seeing all of those continuous checkpoints over time back through months and years. But maybe Sally didn't know really what the file was called. She just knows her action items were up there. Well, what comes next? You really need search and index that can be done in an intelligent way. That's unstructured and scalable. That can cover you on-premise and in the cloud in one simple, easy to use workflow for any point in time, near term and long term. So Sally goes, where you go in for Sally and you start typing action. And you start to look at all of the different files that were there. And you actually see, hey, this file was there, but it was deleted. Is that the one you were looking for? And you start to use intelligence behind the scene to understand what you're looking for, to really have that true unstructured search experience that can take you to the next level, make it easier. Because what we find is that a number of the companies we've talked to in building this set of features out into our IT resilience platform is really that they want it to be simpler than it is today. And today, it's a lot of work. In fact, what we heard is a lot of people just restore the entire VM from the backup because it's easier than trying to break it open and search through it. We think that's completely broken. There's a reason you have index and search and catalogs. Use the power of it. But it needs to be simple. It needs to be in the same workflow that you have known and loved from Zerto and the reasons why you bought it from us. 3 clicks to failover. That's what we say a lot. That's what a lot of our marketing has in it. It needs to be that simple to recover from any point in time that you need to, be it for compliance reasons, be it for business charter reasons, or be it just because you want to be protected. Being able to provide that simply and automatically, being able to do that in a consistent way across repositories, because you are going to want to use different repositories for different lengths of time at different costs. I think that is also something that we've always been able to do, no matter where we've taken you, is how do you allow you to optimize your costs as you roll these new features out. Again, doing it on-premise to one of our cloud service providers or up to the public cloud, and being able to have the same workflow work anywhere. It's the key to what we do today across all of those. It's what helps you get your return on investment. You don't have to retrain people on how to use our product. You'll see more checkpoints. You'll be able to use those more checkpoints. So again, Sally needs to recover a file, goes in and searches for that file, results of all the targets across targets, able to use a checkpoint, recovery orchestration in the background goes to that target, recovers that file, delivers that file. Make it simple, straightforward. It should be on us to hide all the hard parts, all of the disparate pieces, all of those clouds underneath there, so you don't have to worry about managing the infrastructure. You're managing your data. You're really being resilient with your data. Enhanced architecture. I would say that, again, one of the great things about being at Zerto, besides being able to wear red pants at least a couple times a year, is the fact that we have a scalable architecture already in place. How many times I hear from customers, yeah, I set up that backup server, it's my media server, I have to run I'm running all of my snapshots off to that media server, it gets put onto disk, then I have to run them off somewhere else, and if I want to take it to a cloud or another target, I may have to transform it. And oh, by the way, it doesn't scale, and I can only do certain number of backups, and now the vendor's telling me, well, I bought the wrong license, and I have to buy the bigger license and the bigger server, I have to add more disk, I gotta have faster disk. We understand this. We understand the ability to scale out and eliminate these potholes for you. We also understand that you want it to be incremental. You want it to be synthetic. And you need full copies of your data. But you want to choose where they go, how they get deduped, how they get compressed and encrypted. You want them to go places, and you want to do that through one management interface. You want to have that journal retention management experience like you have today with our current product, and set those expectations for that application. But think of it this way. One of the neat things that you can do, again, enabled by the continuous journal-based protection, I don't know, we have a customer, I don't believe they're here, but I will protect their anonymity on this. They have an application that loads about 1 terabyte of data every Friday night. It's a content management system. That's a lot of change. For that particular system, they have a 3-day journal. Over the rest of the weekend, not a lot happens. And they look to understand, okay, I want protection before I load it and after I load it, because we're also doing database changes and schema updates at the same time. So they want both sides of that, which is why they use the 3-day journal. They could use a day, but this gives them more time because they actually like having a weekend. Think about it. Oh, if I have 3 days of journal, I can actually go back in time before I made that change. How many times, and I know there's a couple DBAs here, so I will try to be kind. How many times do DBAs call up the person doing backup and say, hey, by the way, I just made a schema change. You may want to do a backup now. Thank you. The chuckles are exactly what I thought. I never had that happen. I never got a courtesy call and whoop, hey, I changed that application. You may want to take a before and an after. Oh, by the way, it's after already. With Zerto, that doesn't matter. Call me up 24 hours later. I can go back in time. I can make a before copy. That is the power of Zerto. That is the power of being continuous. That is the power of the continuous-based journal and enhanced architecture. But again, we're going to do this with friends. We're going to do this to many, many different targets. We'll be coming out with distinct integration with the Catalyst API for Store Once and HPE, one of our partners. We'll also be providing you NFS and SMB for some of our other partners like Exagrid, who's here. We'll also be doing S3 for those of you who maybe use Swift or an object store or using some sort of object-based virtual storage. And then we'll also provide you specific target and secondary targets into the public cloud as well. All of this will be able to be leveraged generically under the hood. You can use any one of these without fear. But that's not enough. That's not enough in Zerto 7. We're also going to enhance and improve our user experience. If you haven't visited yet, we have our little product management demo station down here. be open for a couple more hours, where we're actually talking about this user experience. We're actively out there doing focus interviews with our customers to try to make things more simple. Beyond providing you APIs to be able to do everything through REST APIs or RESTful APIs, we are also looking at things that maybe take 15, 16, 17 steps. How do we get those down to 4 steps? How do we make it even simpler to use? Because that is really one of the tenets, and it's one of the things that I hear most consistently. But we're not resting on our laurels and saying, we're done with that, we've won that war. We're going out there and making it more simple. At the same time, we will enhance the look and feel of the product as well and help you make it easier. So it's, again, make it look better, easier to read, easier to use, and enhance those workflows even further. On top of that, I talked about analytics and control. If you read any of the news that's out there, you'd think analytics only came out in the last 3 months. There's been a lot of noise about analytics. We've actually been doing analytics for over a year now. In fact, a year and a half if you include the beta that we did. And you start to look at what you can learn about your own infrastructure. We're not doing analytics to be the Uber data center analytics platform. What we're doing is to be prescriptive in how you utilize Zerto and how you will make your infrastructure that much more resilient. And a big piece of that is by, for instance, what if analytics? What if I put a VM into a journal? What is going to be the size of that journal? Where should it live? Things of that nature as we go forward. With that, again, Zerto 7 coming to you. Otherwise, I won't be standing here in red pants next year. Q1 2019. And just because I still have the microphone before I invite Gil and Zeev back up here. So the journey doesn't stop there. I've had such great conversations with so many of you this week. I love it. People have said, hey, you're up at 7, 6 in the morning and in meetings by 7 and out late. I may have had a few drinks with you last night. We're not stopping here. We're not stopping with Zerto 7. We know there's more coming. We know that you need a full IT resilience platform covering more than just the virtual infrastructure. We will be bringing this to you out into the future. This is another artist rendering, not to scale. But wanted you to understand that the investment you guys have been nice enough to make in this company, we're going to pay that back. Oh, and by the way, if you're an Enterprise Cloud Edition customer, you will get Zerto 7 and the backup capabilities, the Elastic Journal, as part of your maintenance and support. No added cost to our Enterprise Cloud Edition customers. So thank you.